It's me, AvronPlays, and I am here with Kodiakbricks.
Howdy, y'all.
We're back to play some Resident Evil.
So I have to be a little more careful with how I do the like my own intro and getting into the rhythm of doing that. Also, before we get too into the weeds, did you want to stream to me?
Oh, right. always something. Hold on.
It's okay. At least we're making sure you're not pulling a Kodiak where we just do an entire like 2 hours of fucking, what was it, fashion police squad. That's just
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I did say it. Yeah, that was a good time.
Anyways.
Anywho, I did like a presentation for a safety thing at work a couple months back, and I started it by saying howdy all as I got up to the front, and very nearly followed with them and Kodiakbricks. Mentally had to stop myself, like, A, no one in this room is gonna get that. B, I would be mortified if anyone in this room that was then like, who's Kodiakbricks? And looked it up as I was giving the presentation.
Yeah, that would be quite awkward.
Knowing my luck, the first one they click on would be the fucking tamales story. Sitting there listening to it as I'm giving my presentation. One of my coworkers just like, "Oh my god, Dave, you possibly eated a people?" And I'd be like, "Cool. So anyway, here's my badge. It's been fun."
It's been fun.
I'm going home. I'm deleting the internet. We'll see you all whenever. Yeah, so I have to be careful, like, anytime I just throw out a howdy all, because it's become such a force of habit to just follow it with my usual YouTube intro.
Yeah, because it's just what you do now.
Yeah, no, it's there. I don't know. I like the consistency of it, and I have yet to have anyone, like, hurl at me the, like, oh, look at fucking Wish.com Markiplier over here.
Wish.com Markiplier.
For starters, I don't think he has, like, creative license over introducing yourself.
Well, I kind of just thought that that's the thing to do, you know? People haven't seen your stream before. They probably want to know who you are, right?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely like the idea of having, like, a super aggressive, like, fuck you mentality to anyone who, like, pops into the chat. I just start streaming under, like, redacted. And it shows up, like, so what's the story behind redacted? Oh, yeah, go fuck yourself.
That's anyway, for me to know and you to never find out, fucker.
Yeah, it's a bit of an in-joke. It originates from Nunya.
Nunya.
So I had a very stupid work yesterday. Oh god.
Oh wow, well that was short. That's been Resident Evil, everybody. See you next time.
It's been fun.
Anyways.
Uninstalls the
Yeah, just once again. What? Oh, that's new game. Interesting.
once again. How about it? So I had a very stupid work thing happen yesterday, and had an even more clown shoes thing happen this morning.
Okay.
Which would you like to hear about first? Because I looked at my manager, and like as we were finishing up today, and expressly told him like I cannot wait to talk about this on stream tonight. He knows full fucking well I signed an NDA, and be careful about what it is I actually discuss.
Yeah, why don't you start at the beginning?
So, in the beginning, there was nothing, right? Or just an insane concentration of everything. And it was kind of tired of not existing. So, it was just like, well, like, there's no sound in space, so it was just like, and, oh, sorry, you want me to go to the beginning of my stories, right? So for anyone that doesn't know, on top of fixing ATMs, I also install and service camera systems. No, Tumblr.com, you cannot seduce the camera. That being said, this particular customer is, I will charitably call them my least favorite customer. I don't love working with these people. They're competent in a lot of regards, but it may not comfort anyone to know, and I speak broadly here, and I'm not naming names. The people who are in charge of your finances are fucking idiots. And I'm including myself in this camp. But they make some real boneheaded decisions, and occasionally you want to fix stuff, but the problem with this kind of job in this kind of field is I have to ask. I have to get like clearance and like a written thing to fix a lot of different stuff. Either like a bid needs to be put together that the customer approves, that they're like aware of the costs, or there's something that's outside like a contract parameter upgrade, or it's in some cases a downgrade that is outside of like the normal maintenance procedures.
Right.
So, fun corporate shit.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah. So fun corporate shit that I usually have to deal with. I have put together no less than 3 separate revised bids to completely redo this particular branch's entire camera system. They have said no to every single proposal. There's just, and normally, like, fine, right? I respect the grind. However, I only have so much like life and sanity that I can dedicate to this job. And working on a system that was installed in 2009, yeah, no, I want to replace that entire fucking thing, but everyone who has the power to let that happen has said no. So I've been forced to sort of limp it along, keep it working where it can be working, replace stuff that breaks, often with things that were not originally intended to go there, because the people who made the stuff that was originally intended to go there have gone out of fucking business. So I'm stuck in a lot of cases where I just kind of have to figure shit out. I just have to jury rig some stuff and do my best to not style my hair like Kurt Cobain. And here I end up today or yesterday is they have a particular camera that's just a little too blurry. Now, it's a wall-mounted camera, and normally I would just right. I would have been like, fuck it, whatever. It's an old school style. Fine. I'll take the old one out, put the new one in. Bob's your own. Part of my problem. That's not. Part of my problem here is that there are actually 2 or 3 cameras that have their wire running through the base plate of this broken camera. So it's not as simple as just taking that one off the wall and mounting a different one. It has a lot more to do with taking those 2 or 3 other cameras down, cutting their lines, taking the mount off the wall, putting a new box in, reconnecting and rerunning everything, and hanging up the camera. And if it was just like, again, if I was doing the entire system, that's fine. I would be fine in redoing all of that because I could do it right the first time, rather than whatever like trackhead who qualified as a technician who installed the original system.
Yeah.
Ooh, the boom muscle.
Always love when you find the boom muscle.
It's a good one to find, he's always there for you.
I know you're there. Come on.
I remember in high school getting surgery to have my boom muscle removed.
Yeah? Tell us all about it.
He's admiring the wallpaper. What do you want?
Oh, okay. Oh, well. Thank you. Welcome.
Yeah. Willkommen all. But yeah, if I was replacing the entire system, fine. But I'm not replacing the entire system. I'm replacing one camera.
One camera.
So I break out the JB weld because that is the level of fucking improvisation I need to take to get this damn thing working. And needless to say, I get everything connected. The JB weld starts setting. The camera's on the wall. Everything's kosher, except none of that because I walked in and looked at the camera view, and it tells me no signal. I think, that's weird because it was definitely working before I brought it over here. Brand new camera. I pulled it out of the box. But okay, whatever. Maybe I got a lemon. I went through like diagnostic to try to get the damn thing working. No dice.
So far, so bad.
So far, so bad. Quick tangent. I was reminded that I was having a conversation with my sister not too long ago, and she said something along the lines of "drugs are a hell of a drug." Just took me the fuck out. I just share that delightful solidarity with everyone. But I'm like, okay, right. I'll go get another camera, and we'll ignore this lemon that I've put in here. Right? Flukes happen. It happens. And I get I got so far. In the end, it didn't matter. The I get back with the new camera, and I go to hang it up. Or before I hang it up, I'm like, okay, let's plug it in my van to like the power strip. Let's connect it to my little like proprietary video viewer thing. And sure enough, it connects, comes right up, and has exactly the video that I need. Like, sick. This camera is working. I climb up the ladder, hang up the new camera. The JB weld is starting to set. Because that was another fun that lemon camera is I then had to take a hammer and chisel to the JB weld to get that shit off of there. Because I still needed the mount. So JB welded the new cable to the mount, plugged it in, went inside, no signal. And I think, I've checked like the connections, because that was one of the first things I checked with the first camera was that the connections were good. And I knew that like before the old camera was just blurry, right? It was functional, but the lens was damaged over just years of exposure to the sun. And so I knew that like the line was fine because the old camera was working.
Right.
But Kodiak starts to notice that there's a pattern. Something's off. Something's weird for sure. Normally, there should be signal. So why I'm getting no signal is beyond me.
Fair enough.
And I pull up my voltage meter, because now the next thing is it not getting enough power? Was the old camera using less voltage? And now, like, the new camera isn't getting enough power.
Right.
And I plug it in, I get my voltage meter up, and it proudly tells me that it's sitting at 24 volts. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense, because this camera takes 12 volts.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. God damn it. All to realize that I cooked 2 separate cameras by plugging them into a power supply that was twice the voltage that it needed.
Yeah, that'll do it.
So yeah, that did it. Hooray. So far, still bad. But this morning, I was able to go get a third camera, disconnect the wires on the 24-volt side, and convert them into a 12-volt connector, and then plugged that in. And shock, I was in and out of there in 10 minutes. It is shocking how like little time it takes when I do the thing correct.
Yeah. That does tend to
but that leads us
be a factor.
Yes, that leads us into this afternoon. And I cherish this afternoon. Because, I signed an NDA. There's a lot of stuff about my job that I can't talk about. And won't be able to talk about for like years after I stop working there. That's kind of how these things work. Right. And that's fine, right? I still have plenty of stories that aren't covered by the NDA. Such as being right a safety to what is your problem. We'll let the viewers discover which one that is if you listen to that podcast. But generally speaking, I have plenty of stories, plenty of things I can share. And Normally, I'm kind of good at, like, asking my boss, or, like, talking to the higher-ups first.
Yeah.
Be like, hey, can I share certain details of this? And they're usually like, yeah, change names or, like, reduce identifying information.
Mm-hmm.
Because whatever happened is clown shoes and the public needs to know. But obviously, you know, I don't need a lawsuit arriving at my door because I said the fun.
Yeah.
I would make an exception for today. However, again, I value having a job. So this customer, I don't know if you knew this. This is one of the elements that I sort of can talk about.
Uh-huh.
The big cough for the Backstreet Boys reunion tour, as the Game Grumps so eloquently call it.
Yeah.
There is one industry, you know, and a lot of industries suffered, and it's totally understandable, right? The market, generally speaking, was not doing so hot. Banks and credit unions were making fucking gangbusters. Banks and credit unions were doing real well with everything that was going on in the pandemic. Partially because rain, sleet, snow, or shine, your money gets moved. Like, there's no kind of way around that.
Right.
This particular credit union complained to my higher-ups in a meeting that I was for some reason a part of that, well, you know, the big cough has been like a real struggle time for us. We've been struggling to grow our numbers, and you know, it must be so tough for everyone out there.
Mm-hmm.
And my CEO, like, actively, metaphorically, like, shoving his wallet and wads of cash out of view, was just like, yep, so but these guys were not making great decisions as far as the big cough was going,
Right.
and just finance. Now, one of the technologies that has sort of made money continuing to move during, you know, a big sneeze, if you will,
Yeah.
is ATMs. Now, make no
Right.
mistake, despite working on the bitches, I fucking hate ATMs and everything they stand for. I understand that they put bread on my table, but generally speaking, I recommend to anyone and everyone with ears and eyes and or both to, if you can help it, never fucking use an ATM. The sheer number of things that can go wrong that result in you not getting your money is astronomical.
Hence why your job exists.
Precisely. I have to tell people, like, I'm employed. It's never a good thing when I show up to a branch. You know, I've tried in recent weeks, like every Friday, to buy, like, treats or snacks for a random location.
Uh-huh.
As a, like, hey, I know it's usually, like, bad news when you see us, being technicians and whatnot. It usually means something is broken or someone is fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, turkeys in the hospital, moms in the oven, etc., etc. So bad times. But I want to kind of, like, get treats for certain branches and be like, hey, you know, I don't always want it to be, like, bad when we show up. You know, don't think that this is going to be like a regular thing. I have only so much money. However, for that purpose, like, you know, it's been nice to kind of connect and like meet the people that work in these institutions without the context of, you know, somebody shoved like their Smith's gas card into the card reader. And now I'm sitting there with a pair of pliers and a knife trying to dig it out. But generally speaking, I do not recommend that people use ATMs. However, they are a point of contact between your financial institution and you, right? When you're using someone else's ATM, like even if they're not part of your financial institution, the connection is still there. It's still happening.
Yeah.
So the question at one point kind of becomes like, okay, if there's a big cough and you as an institution have heavily invested in closing down or physical branches, closing them off, making them appointment only, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
A pretty solid revenue stream for you, and even up to this day, is an ATM. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Or even they have these new ones called ITMs, and to quote one of my favorite angriest video, they're a shitload of fuck, but I get why they exist. Generally speaking, the only real difference is, you know, an ATM, you just pull up, put in your card, do a basic transaction, etc. An ITM, on the other hand, has somebody working from home or from an office who can join you on a video call and walk you through how to do those basic processes. That's it. That's the only real difference. For all intents and purposes, a lot of institutions have started leaning towards those virtual teller machines. And personally, I find the notion funny that like the criminals adapt with the time and will still try to like hold the teller, the like virtual machine up at gun to have them like empty the machine and fill the bag. And I don't know why I love this idea of the teller either just being like, oh, cool, and then just ends the video call. Or plays along for as long as it's funny to do so.
Oh, yeah, that's the thing is, like, I would just be like, inform the authorities, and then just keep them on the line.
Yep. For me, it has the same energy as the guy who wanted to rob the bank but wanted to be like efficient about it. So he called ahead to let them know to like have the money ready for him when he got there. And of course, it was just cops waiting for him. But I fucking like I respect the tenacity, if nothing else. But all that being said, this particular branch, a lot of branches have opened up and sort of moved away from the appointment only sort of stuff. And quite a few of them have like basically gone to like as usual pre Backstreet Boys reunion tour.
Yeah.
These guys, for whatever reason, There's still like the only way to visit their lobby is by appointment only. It practically means you have to call them and say, hey, I'd like to make a deposit. Can I schedule a time where I can like come in and you can have someone here to like do the transaction?
Right.
And that's all well and good, right? Back, especially when it was the big call. We're still releasing.
Okay. I know how to do that route more efficiently now, though.
You know, it's all well and fine to do that during the big cough, but like these days, I'm going to a different institution. Also, like, if I wanted to like open a new account with this local like institution, and I show up and they're like, yeah, you have to call us first for the mere privilege to visit our branch and open an account. Like, yeah, no, I'm going literally anywhere else.
See ya.
But they do have a drive-through ATM. Or should I say had. Because that's what we were doing today. We were removing that ATM, and they were replacing it with a piece of fucking plywood on the wall.
Gotta do what you like, gotta do, I guess.
I'm being pedantic for the sake of comedy. The contractor was there to seal the whole box. But I'm sitting there, I'm sort of baffled. Because, again, this location, I gotta be careful about how much information I give here, because I don't want someone figuring out who the fuck this is if I give too many details.
Right.
But needless to say, I am baffled because if they remove this ATM, I'm not 100% sure at this location how they're going to do business with people.
Right.
If nobody's there, if nobody's doing like teller stuff, unless they plan to open the lobby now that the ATM is gone. But from talking to the higher up, it didn't sound like that was the plan. Because even what they were telling us, and I guess the reason we wanted us to move the ATM is it wasn't, quote, doing enough transaction. And I'm sitting here like, okay, you pay what? Like $30 a month in electricity to run this machine? Like, you're telling me you were doing less than $30 a month in transactions at this device.
Right.
Because that's the only financial way this makes sense. I'm spitballing here, again, for the sake of comedy, but generally speaking, like, I in my expertise, cannot think of a whole lot of reasons that you would remove an ATM and not replace it. But, you know, they've opened up the machine for us. It was one that they filled, so they've pulled all the cash out.
Right.
And they've left it for us to kind of break down and move out of there. I was about to close the vault and start getting things ready for it to move. But I got this funny feeling as I had my hand on the hand and went, you know, sometimes liability falls into like the deeper part of the machine, usually due to like a belt malfunction. So I'm gonna do them a service and I'm gonna rack the dispenser out so that I can check for these rogue bills. Maybe save them some time in their final audit or whatever. Right? Because rather than, Stacy definitely took $40 when she balanced the ATM. It's like, no, the machine fucked up and it fell into this lower section.
Right.
But I rack it out, and thankfully, there's nothing in the lower section.
Oh.
Do you know what there is?
What?
There is something called a reject bin. Basically, whether the machine can't dispense or won't dispense, doesn't feel like dispensing, mercuries and Gatorade, etc., etc. It is this box that it can just dump all the bills into.
Okay.
It is full. So I pull it out and making sure my body cam is capturing everything, walk up to the front and ask for the branch manager. She comes over and is like, yeah, what's up? And I'm like, so I found this. And I showed her the box with, rough guesstimation, about $3,000 worth of 20s.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, yeah, you're going to want to audit this because I don't know how long the machine has been unlocked for. Like, I don't know when you guys zeroed it out, but you definitely missed this when you did. Now, had I not checked and just shut the ATM and brought it back to the shop,
Uh-huh.
we were sitting on roughly that amount of money for who knows how long before we got around to destroying the machine.
Right.
Now, sometimes we're pretty good about labeling where machines come from, but sometimes we need to salvage parts. And so an ATM can just sit in the yard for, at some cases, months.
Yeah.
With pieces just slowly and selectively being removed, weather doing its thing, etc., etc. And so I'm just thinking of the possibility of like September or October of this year, I finally get around to like doing a letter of destruction on that machine. And sure, I have the serial number, but wouldn't have the foggiest fucking clue where it came from.
Mm.
And yeah, the thought of like, hey guys, NBP, but I just found $1,000 in this machine that we've just been sitting on for I don't know how long and don't know who it belongs to. Can we get this handled? Question mark period. But yeah, bless the branch manager. Sometimes you sort of fail upwards. And like, she's nice, but I've met like boiled cabbages that have better like adept security skills when it comes to handling money.
Uh-huh.
And she was like, so where was this box? Like like we balance the machine all the time. Like where was this? And she's standing in front of me, so I can't pinch the bridge of my nose, lean forward, and like cringe at the sheer stupidity that I've just been faced with.
Uh-huh.
So I have to be like, ma'am, this is your reject bin. Anytime an ATM can't complete a transaction, this is where it goes. How did you not know this existed? Beat mood? So yeah, clown shoes, top to bottom. Bless my manager. When I was telling him, like, yeah, I'm definitely talking about this on stream tonight. He was like, I mean, you could have not said anything, and we could have gotten several pizzas. I was like, while I don't deny that this amount of 20s would have made, transacting for a multitude of pizzas quite easy, I enjoy having a job.
What is a job for other than to buy pizzas?
Buy pizzas, unintentionally launder thousands from your customers in Minecraft, and yeah, all good things.
So, maybe you don't know the answer to this question, but, uh, is it possible that that's why they thought their machine wasn't getting enough business?
It is entirely possible. Because what I will say is, like, machines rejecting large number of bills, a large number of bills, I should say, usually indicates that, like, there is a deeper problem. Splat. That there is, quote unquote, more going on to the situation.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, it's entirely possible. And sometimes it's as simple as, like, somebody didn't pull a rubber band off of, like, a stack of cash, and that
Uh-huh.
rubber band has now jammed in the apparatus, preventing the machine from feeding properly.
Yeah.
Because the way these machines work, they want the bills to be as straight as possible. The little shits, and if a bill is crooked at all, it assumes that shit has gone to fuck, and it just dumps the entire stack. So if you requested $200, that's potentially 10 bills that the machine is just like, no, do it again, and it throws them away to then stack 10 new bills. It usually repeats this process a couple of times, and if it rejects after a couple of times, it'll give the customer a little frowny face, and then they call their institution and yell at them.
Yeah.
And their institution calls and yells at us, and then I open up the set, and I yell at the little rubber band I find. I'm doing nothing to break this cycle. The cycle of violence will continue until morality improves. Yeah, so it is entirely possible that lots of customers were doing, like, trying to do transactions and just couldn't. Again, I don't want to reveal too much about this particular customer,
Right.
other than to say there's a reason I prefaced this by saying that while pretty much every single institution was doing gangbusters, like, from 2020 up until now, these guys have been struggling.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just due to inadequate marketing, poor marketing, no marketing, semi-lucrative marketing, scam marketing. I don't know, like, why the marketing train they have just isn't working. I'm happy I'm not in charge of marketing for these banks, because I would be fired within the week. Because I would pull the Denny's approach and just start, like, a completely unhinged Tumblr.
Well, I'm just wondering, because, like, if you go to the bank and you go to get your money, and the machine is like, no, I won't give you your money, I'm not working right now. You might tell the bank that their machine is not working, and then they might get it fixed. But you also might be like, well, I don't need this money right now, I'll do it later when the machine is working, or I'll just use my credit card, or whatever. And, word of mouth gets around that this machine like only works half of the time or something.
You mean when I tell customers to not use the fucking ATM?
I mean, yes, that could certainly be part of it.
in the broadest of senses.
But I mean, specifically through experience, people have seen that this doesn't work. They tell their friends that it doesn't work.
Right.
But nobody volunteers that information to the bank because they can't be bothered to talk to them. They'll be like, "Thank you," and then they'll dismiss you.
Right.
Uh, and so everybody just starts avoiding that bank. That's kind of
Entirely.
my thought process here.
Yeah, entirely possible. Yeah, I would be hard pressed to say that like that happens super frequently. Because when you're an adult, you generally talk about like the weather, sport ball, other things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember the last time I looked at my friend and was like, so who do you bank with, and do their ATMs work?
Well, I mean, it's the kind of thing where it's like you're frustrated because you needed that money, but you didn't have time to like go through the rigmarole, and so you're just like, oh, how was your day? Well, I had some problem at the bank today.
Sure. No, that would make sense to me. Where you talk about it as like, pardon me, as because elsewise, yeah, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. I have a lot of customers who will come up to me as I'm like fixing the machine, and will be like, "Hey, so I did I did a transaction. I requested $200, but it only gave me 80. Like, here's my receipt. Can you make me whole?" And it's like, for starters, go away. Second off, no, I cannot help you.
Go away.
Like, I'm fixing the machine. Fuck off. There have definitely been a couple of like, hey, just so you know, the machine is broken, and it's like, why do you think I am here with the machine open and screwdriver in hand? Like, thanks for the heads up, dipshit. But no, like, okay, I've had people approach me with that sort of scenario, right? Either it only them X amount of cash, or they their card, or they didn't get any cash, but their bank statement says the transaction went through, et cetera, et cetera. And it's like, I need to explain to you real quick that if I open this machine and I hand you the requested amount of money that you're looking for, we both go to turbo jail.
Right.
So in the interest of not doing that, here's what's going to happen. You need to contact your financial institution, whether it's the 20-meter walk that way or a phone call to whatever home you come from, because we do have international, and it is a lot of international people who will approach me and think that I can help them. And it's like, again, I'm sorry, because I can't. What I can tell you is, asshole. What I can tell them is the exact process to get them to, like, be able to have the bank perform an audit and get them their money back.
Right.
Potentially.
Potentially.
Because even in the scenario that I'm describing here, I acknowledge that it's, like, not outside of the realm of possibilities that someone got their money, went to leave, turned around, saw me coming up to, like, serve the machine, and thought, hey, I'm an extra free $200.
Right.
Can we not just glare at this? Get a little hustle game. But even in that scenario, or the scenario exists where they're lying and trying to get free money.
Right.
But even if they're not, even if they're completely honest, even in a lot of cases, like, we have machines that we service on military bases and whatnot. And so I've had, service people come up to me with these kinds of prompts. And I have to tell them the same thing. It's like, I physically cannot help you. Even if it's something as simple as the machine ate your card. Because there are a handful of reasons that a machine will eat a card.
Mm-hmm.
Although my favorite calls are the ones where we get told by the customer that the machine ate the person's card, and we know that that ATM is a model that is physically capable of doing that.
Uh-huh.
So we go, could we get some more details, please? There's an incongruity with what you have described and what we experience in the field. Because in order for the customer's card to have been eaten by this machine, it would need to have, like, clipped through a solid wall, with the Half-Life sound effects and everything.
Right.
Source collision sound, which I really need to add to my soundboard. All of that to say, even if it's something as simple as a card, I have to explain to people, like, look, even if you show me your birth certificate, even if, mi madre is there to, like, confirm that you are who you say you are, you could bring me your social security card. Jesus Christ himself could descend from the heavens, gesture towards you, and say, he is he. And I still would not be able to give that person their card back. So take it as a little secret for me. Most of the time, I just end up telling people that the machine automatically shreds the card if it gets eaten. And that feeding a bunch of, like, printer scraps of a credit card into a reader tends to not make the reader happy. So I will not be giving them their card back because it's physically impossible to do so.
Mm.
Now, in practicality, these cards that do get stuck into our machines, when we return them to our facility, they do get shredded. Like, we don't have, like, a giant dumpster full of credit cards that we just sit on. You do get processed, they do get shredded. But sometimes, if I can tell a customer is going to be a particularly, like, They ask me about their card. I just tell them it got shredded. Like, sorry, it's a security process. If the card reader determined that fraud, either this card was marked for fraud or something happened with the little reader and it just decided to shred it. But that's also why I tell people, like, don't fucking use ATMs. I don't know. It's interesting. It's also a lot of why, even if I'm like fixing a machine and somebody drives up and they're like, "How long are you gonna be?" I get that they need to use the ATM, and even if I have a rough idea that I'm only gonna be like 10 or 15 minutes, I still tell them I'm probably gonna be here another hour or so, because that's long enough that they're like, okay, I can just go somewhere else and use a different ATM, or just like go inside and do my transaction. Because you get people who, if you tell them, like, oh yeah, 5-10 minutes, they will just sit there and watch you. And it's like, if for no other reason than the hairs on the back of my neck, I need people to go away. What was your favorite stream of Resident Evil, Billy? Love the one where Kodiak talked about his job for a long time and made a reference.
I do enjoy how we make that reference. Virtually any time we talk about one topic for a long time.
Yeah. I mean, it's appropriate. I mean, my little honeybees they'll sit through anything. All 12 seconds of the one video that fucking blew up for some reason. I was talking to my mom about that, and like bless her, she's kind of new to the internet. She's getting the hang of it, but there are still some concepts that are kind of beyond her.
Yeah.
And as I was telling her, it got up to like this insane number of views that I never dreamed like any of the videos on my channel would ever get anywhere near.
Yeah.
And she was like, so have they started reaching out to you with sponsorships? I'm like, Mom, I am proportionately a tiny fucking YouTuber, even with that number of views on video. Like, I don't expect any World of Tanks emails anytime soon.
Honestly, shame.
Okay, so principally speaking, hear me out here. There is one company out there that I will sell out for, that I will do a sponsored advertisement for. There is one company that is bold and brazen enough that I'm like, yes, I will. Like, you don't even have to pay me. The fact that they reached out to me for the sponsorship is all the permission I needed. And I can't remember if I've gone on record to say which company it is or not. But I will say right here, right now, that it is baddragon.com.
Yes, you have
Good.
In Resident Evil 2.
Hell yeah. Because, and I'm at the point where if like World of Takes or Shadow Raid Legends reaches out to me for whatever fucking reason, and they're like, "There's real money to be made in this space," I will formally respond to that email with, listen, the only sponsorship I'm accepting is from this company. If you have any contacts at this company, please have them get in touch with me. Otherwise, I have no interest in doing business with you. Good day.
I mean, I'll do sponsorships under the right conditions. And I think that's going to be the sticking point.
Is the right conditions.
Uh-huh. Because I'll be like, okay, I'll do the sponsorship, but you've got to let me, speak my mind about your product, and then they'll be like, we'll get back to you on that, and then they never will.
World of Tanks is the video game of all time. I play it with my friends, Aaron.
my friends, singular.
Another
Like-
golden Game Grumps fucking bit that always kills me.
Like,
The
I
reviews
think
are in. It's not bad.
I would have to like do some research. Like, I don't think there's
Sure.
anything wrong with a little World of Tanks, you know? It's probably fine.
Yeah.
Raid Shadow Legends I will refuse out of hand, but
Good plan.
you know, that's a different story.
Sure. Ammunition. Delicious.
But I fully acknowledge I will probably never have to worry about that, so whatever.
Also fair. And I love the sort of people that would potentially respond to me. Watch as Kodiak constructs a straw man and takes him the fuck apart. So I love the idea of someone sort of commenting on that potential video. Like, would you accept a sponsor from Bad Dragon? And it's like, hey, I don't think they've sponsored anybody ever. I definitely haven't been watching like a fucking Todd in the Shadows or like a Lindsay Ellis video. Where it's been like, cheer up today with Bad Dragon.
I would fucking
I've never seen it.
I would fucking die of laughter if Todd came out and he's just like, this video is sponsored by Bad Dragon, and you can get this lovely model today.
Unleash your wild side with today's sponsor, Bad Dragon. So here's the hilarious thing, right? And I will divulge this wholeheartedly. I have one product that I have ever purchased from Bad Dragon.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a mask that has the Bad Dragon logo on it. And the reason I purchased this is because I work in a very professional environment, right? I'm in banks, I'm in credit unions, I'm in other financial institutions. I'm surrounded by like real stuffy, real just salt of the earth folk. And the idea that I can have something so brazen and so crass just sitting, covering my mouth all fucking day, like especially back during the height of the big cough.
Mm-hmm.
That like it brought me a certain amount of joy to know that nobody could call me out on it.
Right.
Because imagine, you're a bank teller. my hot wet ass walks in to fix the machine, and you notice that and if anyone watching this doesn't know what Bad Dragon is, you're welcome. Keep it that way? Question mark. But if you're bold enough, or bad enough, or if you're a dragon, look it up. But all of this to say, like, right, you're the teller. You recognize the logo. You recognize the mask. You can't look at me and be like, that's very inappropriate for you to be wearing that mask. As I, both eyebrows go up, and it's like, oh, so you know what it is.
Like, oh, do tell.
Oh, do tell. What is it? Please, for all your coworkers in the room.
What's wrong with it?
What's wrong? For my family, I did get asked by one of my cousins, and I was like, "Oh, it's Bold Dragon. It's like this fictional software they use in a video that I like." And they were like, "Cool, that sounds boring enough that I'm gonna look into it." And I was like, "Cool." Keep it that way.
That sounds boring enough.
That's not actually what they said. They were like, "Oh, interesting," and then just kind of changed the subject, like wiping the metaphorical sweat off my brow. But generally speaking, like, there's no one that can call me on it without revealing that they also know what it is.
Right, you have to out yourself to call you on it.
Precisely. Oh, what is it? Please do tell.
Oh, I had no idea. Why don't you explain the problem to our fellows here?
To our assembled audience, as I gesture broadly, and the people surrounding are just confused now. Gary, what the hell is this guy talking about? Yeah, Gary, what the hell am I talking about?
Gary realizing his mistake.
It's like, yeah, Gary, look me in the eyes and tell me you know who Dimwit Dog is, and Sarvolver. Pulls Gary in by the collar. Tell me you know about Nuzzo. Is he even speaking English anymore, Gary? Gary, soft tears running down his cheek. Go on, Gary. Tell them. Tell them. Tell them about Adam Wong. And he just bursts into tears. What the fuck does that guy call himself? He's like Zausch or something. Fucking hate that guy. His art is very occasionally good, but there's a lot of CP, and my filter catches it. But the thing when you're browsing and you notice that, like, it tells you what it's filtered out.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say, hypothetically, for the sake of argument, a certain website that's one letter and 3 numbers shows you, like, roughly 75 images at a time. And your filter, reduces the page size to a single line. It's a little bit like, sus. Sus. I fucking hate Adam Wan. Dimwit Dog I also hate, but in much more of a like, you cheeky fuck kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
They do a lot of like, they do a lot of fan art that sort of is meant to get your gander, not in like the chores sense, but in the like, oh, you fucker, I'll never be able to watch this show the same again. What was one of the ones I saw recently? They did a funny with an effeminate version of Clifford the Big Red Dog, and I'm like, you I fucking liked that show, god damn it. Oh. I love assuring that even if you had the ability to, that there would be absolutely no fucking way for you to monetize this VOD. And that's why you should follow on Patreon. If you want to support Aaron and I as content creators, go to patreon.com/go fuck yourself.
I mean, if people want to see me bad enough, I'll do a Patreon. Fuck it.
Yeah, fair enough.
I just don't think anyone cares.
Sure. I have contemplated like a Ko-Fi, but I sort of fall back on the same thing that like all of my bills are paid, and like I don't know, I make enough doing what I do that I don't feel the need or like the desperation to monetize my stuff. Bless my friends, I was talking about the like 60,000 plus on this video. He's like, "Oh, you should definitely turn the monetization on," and I was like, "No." Go fuck yourself. Patreon.com/. Just gonna plug that as many. Is that go anywhere? Hang on. Patreon.com. Go fuck yourself.
I will be highly amused if that turns out to be a real thing.
You're kidding. Oh, okay, I see. So, yeah, there isn't anyone under that. Or rather, there's one account that it associates with that. But they are not. They have an account. They're not supporting anyone at the moment.
Oh.
And their name is notably not "Go Fuck Yourself." Oh. What is my favorite image on the internet? Well, thanks for asking, Aaron. I appreciate it. So, my favorite image as of late that I've seen. I don't know if you're familiar with who Andrew Tate is.
Yes.
So
he's one of the people on my list of names I'll write in my anime notebook.
A certain unnamed anime notebook.
Yeah, correct.
Good plan. Before you do, let me tell you about the funniest fucking image I've seen so far. Because he has a lot of images of him like sitting on a couch, like surrounded by models, right?
Right.
And some hero out there, like, I need to go find this image and figure out who this hero is. If for no other reason than making sure that H-Bomber guy doesn't hunt me down. They have photoshopped a shitload of like femboy furries that are just sitting. It's the funniest fucking thing I've ever seen. Yeah, not to say anything redacted, but he should have a nice time. He should definitely not do anything that would contribute to getting this video demonetized. Not that it was monetized in the first place.
I think we've already seen to that. Unless Bad Dragon sponsor us.
Bad Dragon, hey, holla at your boys. I will do the most shameless plug for your
team. We're here to rescue you.
Fucking...
Richard, what the hell happened to you?
Richard.
Chris,
I fell down the stairs.
Get your team out of here. Demons everywhere.
Demons?
Demons!
By a poisonous snake, but the size of the bite mark is huge.
It's not just any ordinary snake. Take my word for it.
He needs serum. I left it in another room.
I'll go get it.
Please hurry.
Hold on. I'll be back.
There, the DNA evidence was gone.
The DNA evidence was gone.
There's a classic fucking reference.
I like how Chris is just like, oh no, Richard.
Oh no, Richard! Or do you prefer Dick? Can I call you Dick?
How could this happen?
How could this happen? Can I go on land? No. Why? The sun is a deadly laser. Howdy, all. We've gotten to the part where Kodiak is actively becoming deranged. I apologize. Where my brain's just like, yeah, let's sit here and fucking quote Bill Wirtz for the next hour.
I like the one where they talk about Bill Wirtz for a long time.
My favorite gag that I still need to go do, because I learned that there were like YouTube poops of the history of the entire world, I guess. But like, none of them are good. At least none of the ones I found. Like, they all suck. It's like, wow, do better.
Do better.
I don't know why, but like mixing the little things, like kills me mentally. I don't know how funny it would be if I actually like cut and spliced up all the ones I continue to quote. Yeah, I don't know. You know, I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. We got to get that serum through.
Speaking of I don't know, did I tell you my favorite tattoo that an old
Hope
coworker
this is
had?
what you wanted.
That I saw?
No.
I'm gonna give you a shot now, Richard.
I'll let the cutscene play out.
Here,
Oh, the wall's freaking out.
it's a radio. Take care of yourself, Rebecca. Richard.
He's okay. He's just unconscious.
Rebecca, it's not safe here. Let's get Richard to a safer place.
Right.
Why was that one so delayed?
Richard needs you.
I
now.
activated that like as soon as he passed out. It was just like,
As soon as Richard
did I
gets
hit
better.
the right button? And then it just was like,
Rebecca, you
oh
okay
right,
with
the
gun?
thing I'm supposed to do is a sound.
All right, I'm going to continue my investigation.
I love the way she said yes after that.
Okay.
Are you okay with a gun? Yes. Cool. That's a way of saying yes that makes me never want to hand you a firearm. She's like, no, I'm responsible. The first rule of gun safety is to have fun. No, okay, all right. Definitely not handing.
The first rule of gun safety is to have fun.
I can't tell you how many times I've heard that at the fucking range and just been like, all right, I'm packing up. See everybody.
Bye-bye.
Kodiak, you're the one that just made that joke. I'm like, yep. Yeah, I'm leaving. Bye. I'm leaving before the range master gets here and kicks my teeth in. Another thing I love at the range is anytime someone doesn't take the range masters seriously and or doesn't read the doesn't read the rules before going into the range.
Uh,
A lot of indoor ranges, in fact, a fair majority of them, you're only allowed to shoot so fast.
uh-huh.
You get a lot of idiots that just come in and mag dump and don't actually know how to control the firearm properly.
Yeah.
And as a result of such, will do damage to the important parts of the range.
Right.
You know, the parts that are meant to be shot at. And you'll almost always get some idiot that comes in with a 22. You know, just like one of the smaller calibers you can get your hands on. And will just start mag dumping. And I pretty much do the same thing every time when I'm sitting at the bench. I put my weapon on safety, and I set it down, and I wait for the passing train that is the range safety officer who is about to grab a motherfucker by the collar and throw them out of the room. And you get dudes that'll argue, like, it's just a 22, and it's like, the rules said 1 round per second max. Like,
Right.
go to hell. Don't go to jail, go to hell.
Go directly to hell. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200.
Exactly. Oh man, I love push 'em and pull 'em puzzles.
Yeah.
Yay.
First try.
Not exactly what I wanted. Oh, that one. Okay. You know what? I'm giving up. I'm giving up on the soundboard. It's a box. What's in the box?
Mm-hmm. One more of those. Yeah.
No free hugs. Cosplay is not consent, didn't you know?
Whoa.
Oh, you bitch. Caution. Sir, you're spawn camping. Can you not?
Can you not? That's really not cool. What? I need
Ah, that bitch.
to be more careful around corners. Damn, really?
Howdy, I'm Kodiak. I'm an invaluable addition to these streams. You tell him.
This is a long way back, Dave. I don't like it.
Maybe if I talk like this, things will get better. Hi, it's me, Squidward. I just murdered hang on. Hang on. I'm not nasally enough to do a good Squidward. I was gonna say I murdered SpongeBob in the Krusty Krab parking lot AMA. I always love the, like, I do X for a living, AMA. Like, top question asked, where do you work?
Where you were. No, no.
Now you can tell by the way I use my I wanna fuck you. No time to talk. Indeed. Are you familiar with Carl Jobst at all?
Yes.
Cool. No further discussion. Just figured I'd check in. No, so because I watch a lot of his stuff concerning like cheated speed runs and like how those cheaters got exposed and whatnot,
Yeah.
YouTube has been like, hey, we were sick of giving you Demon Core recommendations. We're just gonna like start recommending you cheated speedrun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if I'm just used to the way that Carl like talks about the cheating scandals and like I don't know, when he covers it, I feel like even if I've never played the game, I can at least understand what is going on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have as easy of a time with some of these other YouTubers who cover stuff who are just like, well, you're here because you're a speedrunner in the game, so I don't need to explain any of this shit. Anyway, here's how he cheated. And I'm like, hang on. I want to know. I want to know more about this video game that I have never played and will never play.
Right. But I think because I habitually watch the H Bomber Guy plagiarism YouTube video and the Tommy Tellerico video, YouTube has like learned that I don't want to watch content about people who aren't who they say they are.
Yeah, fraudsters.
And so he comes up a lot on my recommended because he'll be like, this guy who cheated in the Danky King is still lying about how he cheated in the Danky King.
Cheated in the Danky, not the Danky King. So it's so dank. It smells of Kang.
So that is my general experience with this creator is that. So I've been watching his videos a lot lately.
Well, there was an outlier. I feel bad because I can't remember the name of the channel right now, but he specifically covered Super Monkey Ball.
Mm-hmm.
And like a cheater who was exposed in Super Monkey Ball.
Yeah.
Now, apparently, there's a really fascinating way that you can cheat in SMB, which is you like press the pause button as you're going through like rapidly, because it sort of, I guess, makes it easier to like control the stick and keep things where you want them to go.
Okay.
However, obviously it's fucking cheating, and so you know the methods of detecting it are pretty like prudent, given that the like it makes a sound every time you pause, and they caught this particular cheater because the game, like some of the higher level speed runners, as they usually do, figured out that the sounds that the monkeys make when they're about to fall off of shit isn't random.
Mm-hmm.
Like, based on different conditions, they make different noises. And if you watch this guy run, all of the noises are wrong. I'm sitting there like, Kate, again, how the fuck do you even begin to know that? Like, what the fuck? There's something about, like, you have to admire the tenacity of some cheaters, like the lengths they go to with their systems knowledge, and that's a lot of, I think, what I like about what Carl Jobst covers is, hey, here's the system knowledge you now need to know as to how this cheater was caught.
Right.
And I'm just like, cool, thanks. Whereas with God, what was the one I was listening to earlier? Let me pull up my history. It probably didn't help that I was only like half listening.
Yeah, that does tend to make it harder. Understand?
Yeah, here it is. So, I wasn't watching, but I was like listening to it while I was working. He was covering a cheater in Pokemon like Scarlet, I guess.
Uh-huh.
The history of the entire Pokemon Scarlet, I guess. But as he was covering it and going through that, there were just a couple of things that he was like, yeah, you know, this is just kind of a known entity about the game. I don't need to explain this. And I'm like, my bro and Crow, I've never played Pokemon. Like, I need to know these things. If I am to understand the cheat, I need to know.
Ah, fuck. Oh. Well, I guess I'm okay. Go in the thing. Chris!
Chris! I was also talking with a buddy of mine while I was at work, and I'm just reminded by the video that is right before this one about the Pokemon Scarlet speedrun cheater. And it's on. I don't know if you're familiar with the XM29 ICW.
No.
Cool. It's a super common gun, Aaron. You hang around me, you should know. It's a super fucking obscure like program that the U.S. military adopted. That was basically, hey gang, what if we take a 20-meter grenade launcher and mount it to the top, not the bottom, the top of an M16?
Uh-huh.
And yeah, needless to say, it's one of Austin's favorite guns. And I was talking to Austin's my brother, for anyone who doesn't know. But bless this friend I was talking to. We got onto the topic of weird guns, particularly in like Lego. There's some like third-party companies that will generally make sort of like realistic firearms, and one of the ones we were covering and talking about was just kind of scuffed as hell. And I think I said something along the lines of like, reminds me of the dimensions on the XM29 OICW. And he's like, that's a fucking Starship Troopers gun. That's not real. I'm like, I have some terrible news for you, gamer. I sent him a video on it, and he's like, no, I refuse to believe. I'm like, refuse to believe all you like. The US military is insane, and this thing almost happened. Like, I can't help that. I can't do anything for that.
I can't.
All of that to say you were shocked and he was shocked and appalled that that was a real weapon platform. Yeah, they wanted the Sword of Tomorrow. The problem is they wanted this in the middle of the 1980s, you know, with 1980s technology. Shit like the fucking F-117 Nighthawk was flying around. You really think these fucks actually had in mind what that all entailed?
Well, I guess not.
Holy fucking shit. The thing I like about that room is it probably smells awful.
Yeah, I do not doubt that it is rank.
Can't wait for video games to add smell-o-vision.
Smell-o-vision.
Like the Sons of the Forest would be a very different game to play if, on the one hand, you had fucking like all of the fun, all of the fun of the visuals, but also like, you know, the pleasant smell of the forest, especially after the rain, contrasted with cave full of bodies.
My
This game,
favorite.
man, this game makes me weirdly hungry. Anyone else want some tamales? Sorry, you were saying?
I don't remember.
Oh, sorry.
You brought up the tamales, no I can't focus. Yeah, that should do it. Okay.
Who and possibly Ray?
Key open. Go in. So, Dave,
Tell me everything.
what is the craziest thing that's ever happened to you at work?
I think so. It's a toss-up between the time I almost became Chunky Marinara and the reason that I got married.
Yeah, I suppose that would do it. I know you've told the ladder story on stream. Have you told the other one?
I believe I've told the other one as far as like talking about it more specifically on I don't think like I think it was one of my streams, but I don't know if I've ever like sat down and like fully divulged how that whole story went.
Mm-hmm.
Other than to say that I wrote 2 letters, or 2 emails rather. One was to OSHA concerning what had transpired and ways that we could work to avoid it in the future.
Mm-hmm.
The second was an email to a podcast called Well, There's Your Problem.
Uh-huh. This I remember.
Now, let me tell you, I was not, like, I redacted my name and all of, like, the major details in the podcast.
Yeah.
Or at least, you know, the letter I wrote to them. I didn't want it getting back to us. You know, I will divulge it here just because I don't imagine this will reach as large an audience as the Well, There's Your Problem episode would. But imagine I'm at work listening to one of my favorite podcasts and I hear "Howdy y'all," followed by some words that sound roughly familiar. Thinking, I've heard this before. Like, this is familiar. Where is this familiar from? Turns out it's familiar because it's what I fucking wrote. They decided to read off the email I had sent as far as my safety third.
Mm-hmm.
And the event in question is, I think, the most I can legally like speak about, the closest I have come to death.
And that is some pretty steep competition.
Yes. So, God, where do I even start? So, I will give my CEO that he does not say yes to stupid shit like this as often anymore. But this was really the cream of the crop as far as just dumb fucking shit that had yes said to it.
Mm-hmm.
And more specifically, or perhaps less specifically, there was a Blanche like it was their main location, right? Their headquarters. Like the CEO was going to have an office in this new building,
Mm-hmm.
and they managed to build it right next door to their old building. And good for them. I'm happy for them. I really am. However, when you're building a branch from scratch, typically for your customers, you want to offer something like a safety deposit box,
Yeah.
as an option for them to keep their higher risk valuables, inheritance stuff, etc., etc. All the good things. Trouble is, once it's installed, it's kind of just there. And these units weigh about 4,000 pounds on their own.
Mm-hmm.
That's like without any of the gold bullion or coins, guns, any of the other kinds of things that people put in safety deposit boxes. You know, again, good shit. So this thing weighs anywhere, like at minimum, 4,000 pounds. So they're usually installed with cranes. And the problem with that, specifically speaking, is when the old branch isn't ready to be demolished, and therefore they can't get a crane in there, but the new branch already has the roof on. So, congratulations, crane's not an option.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my boss is like, you know, they asked us, like, hey, will you help us move these safety deposit boxes? And by help, they meant do it for us.
Right.
So we're like, my CEO's like, yes, we have the equipment, we have the know-how. We had neither the equipment nor the know-how. But my boss was basically like, yeah, we'll go to like this local equipment rental place and we'll rent something called a material lift. Now, this is typically used for like stacking washers and dryers, or like putting safes up in an elevated position, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like your little home safes, not the big chunky fuckers. And we bring this thing in, and what made this all worse is this was on a fucking Saturday. They didn't even have the decency to let us do this on like a normal work day. The only mercy was the promise of like guaranteed overtime.
Mm-hmm.
And since I'm hourly, fuck yeah. That fuck yeah pretty quickly dissolved once we got the material lift in there, and we're getting it prepped and getting it ready to lift up this thing. And Kodiak decides maybe it's prudent to like look at the weight limit that is printed on this piece of material.
Mm-hmm.
And it proudly tells us that the maximum load capacity for this device is 600 pounds.
Right.
We're looking at something that is a minimum of 4,000.
Mm-hmm.
So I bring this to the attention of my manager. And he says, it's probably fine. And we load it in, and he starts cranking on the little like handle to start raising the deck. And I watch as the steel spine of this fucking material starts to bend like a piece of licorice. While the safety deposit box itself did not budge a single fucking inch.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, cool, good.
Cool, good.
And my boss is like, it's probably not nice.
You think?
It's probably not fine, I think. If I had to wager, not fine. But we pull it out of there, and the problem with this, like, the thing about vaults, right? I can't divulge too much, obviously, but pretty typically, they are constructed of concrete and steel and rebar and more concrete and more steel and more rebar, and it's just, it's a nightmarish process. And so, you know, knocking down a wall to try to get a forklift in there, because like a forklift could do it.
Yeah.
You know, we have moved people's cars with our forklift before. I will not be divulging why, but the actually no, there was one time that I can talk about why we did.
Okay.
But that's we'll put a pin in that one. But so we're sitting there. Our options are pretty limited. We don't have terribly much in the way of materials, and like our main plan was the material lift. So the fact that it's not working means that we're just fucked. Until I have a terrible idea. I have a truly god-awful idea. However, in the absence of any good ones, I pitch it to the team, and they agree that it's the stupidest shit they've ever heard. But that, again, we don't really have a lot of options. But we did have, at our disposal, quite a few, like, 4x6 inch blocks. And the qualifier here, because this needs a qualifier, we had a shitload of them. I do not recommend that anyone do this for any purpose at any time for any reason. Please, if you have, like, materials and resources other than what we had available to us, go with literally any other option. Because we proceeded to take the, like, 10 or so blocks that we had, and we built what I affectionately refer to as the Jenga Tower of Doom. What is the Jenga Tower of Doom, I hear you asking, and boy howdy can I not wait to share this. We placed 2 blocks on the ground in front of where the safety deposit box was. Then we placed 2 more on top of those, perpendicular, building kind of a Lincoln log style cabin. And we repeated the process until we had this tower of blocks roughly even with the bottom of where the safety deposit box was. Now, with our team and Herculean effort, we could, principally speaking, move the safety deposit box using just leverage and some of the, like, bars that we had. Like little leverage bars. That being said, we were able to sort of shimmy it out onto this Jenga tower. Now, Kodiak, I hear you asking, what happens, you know, you've got it on this tower, Now what? And the answer to that is we went specifically like to a nearby auto zone and bought 2 car jacks. You know, the kind to raise your vehicle when you need to replace your tire. Specifically the like industrial like work van style, like large ones. We bought 2 of them, and we would raise one side, and then pull out the block, and after pulling out the block, very slowly and very carefully lower the lower the side that had just been raised. So now this 4,000-pound block of steel with God knows what inside is at a slight angle. At which point we would then raise the other side, which increased the angle on its lean. You know, just for funsies. And after increasing the angle, we would then pull out the other side of the block, and we proceeded to walk the thing down to the ground. Now, audience, I hear you asking, Kodiak, where were you during all of this, right? Since it was your idea, were you off to the side supervising, just really making the best use of your your time and your effort, and just being a valuable supervisor to the team? You bet your ass I wasn't. I was in the fucking fray. And where I ended up, thanks to poor planning and poor communication, was between one of the walls and the safety deposit box. My manager was kind of near me, but he at least had, like, room to dive if it started falling.
The words you never
Kodiak
want to hear describe a situation. He had room to dive.
He had room to dive. I did not. So, if this thing started to go, my remains would have been delivered to my next of kin in a Campbell's, like, chunky tomato soup can. Given that I am here talking to you today, it, I believe goes without saying that we managed to get it to the ground without incident. We had a few close calls. Couple of times where it like slipped partially on the wood, or one of the pallet jacks went like too fast. Yeah, like I don't. This is well documented, right? I don't believe in a higher power necessarily. Whether my viewers or your viewers want to attribute that, like, oh, Allah smiled on you that day. Yeah, maybe. I'm not here to say whether or not he or any deity is real, and or which ones are valid or not.
Mm-hmm.
What I can say is after a bit, after being in that kind of scenario, there is nothing more refreshing than just a glass of water and knowing that you're alive. It's just kind of hard to beat that.
Yeah, Fair enough.
Yeah, needless to say, I have never said yes to such a dumbass thing since. Nor do I have intentions to. But I think, speaking candidly, that is, again, probably the closest I've been personally to death. Again, that I can legally talk about.
That you can legally talk about.
For all the times that Kodiak makes funny jokes, I assure you that is not one of them.
What?
Huh?
I have daggers for this exact reason. Why is he so fast?
Fucking zooming.
Oh my god.
He's like, hello, I'm Mr. Resident. Welcome to my evil.
Oh no.
Oh, fuck.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, silly me, he's wearing the dagger-proof helmet.
And what? Just there's nothing here?
Yeah, why not?
Last in the Jill campaign, the grenade launcher was here. And there's nothing. They just put a really strong zombie in here because they wanted to, I guess.
I guess he ate the grenade launcher, and that's what made him gain a power level.
I guess.
He was like, 40 millimeter.
Look, I knew it wouldn't be the grenade launcher, but you know, I expected something.
But at least something, right? Yeah, I was gonna say, if you are morbidly curious, like, that is a story I'm okay telling off of stream.
Mm-hmm.
But in any sort of, like, documented or recorded format, like, no.
Mm-hmm. No, I am curious, but obviously I understand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, are you having kind of a slow day, my guy?
Otherwise, there are plenty of, like, attempted ATM break-ins that have been pretty chaotic or interesting.
Oh yeah.
A big shout out to the motherfucking idiots who managed to just do damage to, like, the plastic decorative part of the ATM, and then, like, very kinda just scratched up the, like, the vault door, you know, with, like, regular ass crowbars. And again, like, if you... I'm not here to, like, speculate on the intellect of any one individual, right? It is far from me to tell fucking anybody, like, you're dumb. However, it stands to reason, if you do any amount of thinking, that if like a simple crowbar would be enough to get into an ATM, right? Don't you think that there would maybe, just maybe, be a little more like effort put into it, or you would see these kind of robberies more frequently? If that's all it took to get in, you would think that we would see this kind of thing much more commonly. And here we are.
Long story short, nope.
And all things considered, right? And I know my bosses might get mad at me for saying the quiet part out loud. It's actually not all that hard to get into an ATM. And I'm being serious here. Like, I'm not doing a haha, Kodiak, you're funny. Like, no, I'm serious. It is not difficult to get into an ATM, right? If you've got a hardy enough plasma torch that's turned all the way up, that steel's gonna melt like butter. You know, granted that you've got like an industrial like work truck that you can deliver that plasma hearth or like that like plasma torch to the actual location it'll cut that open. You know, a sufficiently shaped charge, yeah, you could do it. I'm not going to tell you where to put it, but you know, you could, in theory, use a shaped charge to get into an ATM. Would you like to know the massive asterisk that's been floating above this entire statement?
Yes.
As it happens, the stuff you're after, you know, the money, the moolah, is measurably less durable than the steel. Also measurably more flammable.
Yup.
So, yeah, getting into an ATM, not all that tricky, not all that difficult.
Not the hard part.
Not the hard part. The trick is doing enough damage to get in, but not doing enough damage to destroy what you're after. And I hate saying it this way, but I think that is the one mercy of, like, money, is that it is, in many cases, so fragile, at least when compared to, you know, steel. So...
What if we just
not the hard part.
What if we just had ATMs that dispensed gold coins because we live in like Skyrim or something?
Look. Again, I'm biting my tongue here. I don't know if this is one I can actually talk about.
Well,
just because saying that they are our customers may be enough identifying information that someone could maybe piece it together. I will happily tell you off stream. I'm sitting there weighing, like, unlike Coin Cloud, I may actually get in trouble for talking about that one. Get in trouble is maybe the wrong one. I don't know. I don't anticipate that I would draw in the particularly creepy crowd, as it were. Especially where it's well documented that I wear a plate carrier and open carry for work. And even if somebody figures out where I work, figuring out where I am on any given day is like the trick.
Right.
I still don't want to give anybody the opportunity to start to try.
Right.
That being said, my social is anyway. I don't know why that suddenly reminded me, but I was talking to Margaret, and I know, crazy concept, right?
Right.
Margaret, my darling knife, is comparable to the Fae. Let me. So, I was talking about how, as we discussed earlier, I am demonstrably and morally against monetizing my content. My bills are paid. I don't want to chain myself to the whims of the algorithm. I don't. Being a YouTuber, as far as that being like a full-time job, does not sound interesting or fun to me. I can tell how quickly I would get creatively burnt out. And then Bad Dragon will be like, but what about our sponsorships? And I'll be like, I don't want to make videos anymore.
Oh shit. I took longer and he actually died.
Oh fuck.
Because I forgot.
Whoops.
I forgot to grab the serum, and I had to run back.
I don't know why I love the visual of her being like, can you please go get that serum? And you're like, totally, I'm on it. Be right back. And then a couple hours later, you're strolling through like, oh hey, how you doing? The serum! Right. He's long dead, my guy.
I don't think it really matters. Sorry to say. Because I saved him in the Jill playthrough, and then we never saw him again. So,
suspicious.
I mean, it matters insofar as that's a thing
personally
that happened in the story.
As the player, sure.
But I'm not going to be penalized, I don't think.
Sure.
Although, Rebecca might not be pleased.
Where the fuck were you? Anyway, so as I was talking about the monetization and the particular intrigue in why I would never consider it, and sort of where I stand as far as keeping this as a hobby rather than a source of income.
Yeah.
And I sort of joked, okay, let's say there's an alternate universe where I do decide to monetize my stuff. If I did have a Patreon, I wouldn't know what to put in the tiers.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know how high they let you put the tiers.
Pretty high.
And so what I was sort of joking with Margaret about was, how funny would it be if I had like your normal like $1, $2, $5, whatever, right? Like the basic, you get to see like behind the scenes stuff, or like participate in Q&As, all the normal like dumb Patreon shit. Also, like my behind the scenes, I don't feel are like interesting enough to put behind a paywall. And it's not to say that like other people's behind the scenes aren't as well. I just like, I know me, and I know that watching me sit quietly and like occasionally swear at the Lego program is probably not the most interesting or valuable use of people's time. Again, who am I to say, right? If now, even if someone was like, I beg of you, make a Ko-fi or a Patreon, I'd be like, no, you have better places to put your money. I'm still going to make content and make the videos I want to make, whether you give me money or not. And I don't want anyone to feel like entitled to my content or my creativity through the medium of, well, I support you on Patreon, so you should make the videos I want to see. And it's like, that's not how this works. But the final tier that I would put, or the highest tier rather, would be about like as high as I could make it, 10,000, 100,000, whatever, right? And at that tier, you get all the stuff from the previous tiers, right? Maybe I even make a like I'm a total dumbass t-shirt. But the real reward of that tier is you get to change one number on my tax forms. And I put that forward to Margaret, like, I would be willing to deal with the potential consequences of tax fraud if only for the comedy of letting one person change a number on those said tax forms.
Mm-hmm.
And Margaret channeled their inner Fae and said, well, no, they already do. And I'm like, what? Like, you don't have to like send them your tax form and let them change a number, because by making a donation that's that high in monetary value, they have changed a number on your tax form. And I'm like, God damn it, I hate the logic. And I know people would be pissed if somebody actually like got the resources together to do that, to make that level of a contribution.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, tee-hee, you paid me, so technically you've done the funny. And like, I don't know. Knowing me, I would happily refund whoever, like afterward, because I know I would feel cheated if I was a suspiciously rich furry and I got that kind of money together to donate to some idiot bear on the internet. And then they were like, yeah, you changed a number by the process of giving me this amount of money. It's like, hang on, this isn't what we agreed to. I wanted to make you go to jail for tax fraud, but no.
I like how they're offended
that I didn't let them send me to jail for tax fraud.
Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, they have such a a firm, like, moral standing in that situation.
How dare you? How dare you not let me just completely ruin your life as a streamer? How are we feeling?
I want to do it again. I want to not have that guy die. I feel bad.
Okay.
And
Okay.
like, it's 11. So I think, I feel like what I'll do is I'll do that off stream.
Fair enough.
Because we've seen it happen before. Like, I succeeded it the first time, I just died after. And then I'll save.
Fair enough.
With the ink ribbons we just got in this room. Because that's what I've been waiting on. And then I'll start from there next stream. I think that's what we'll do.
Fair enough.
Alright. Bye-bye, everybody. It's over.
Deuces all. Thanks for tuning in. Catch you next time.